Hi, I'm Elisa Sanneman. I'm a member of the Martin Luther King Association of Westfield and the African American History Committee of Westfield 300. African Americans have played a part in Westfield's history from its inception. And in commemorating Westfield 300, the committee researched the long, rich history of African Americans, documenting their contributions and their painful challenges. Like archaeologists, we had to piece together this history from shards of evidence. We tried to make the history come alive on this walking tour. And there were some surprises along the way. We now know that slavery was a part of colonial Westfield's history. And so the walking tour will take you to the approximate location of a slave auction block near the PNC Bank in downtown Westfield. Historians tell us that in the late 1700s, there were 14 houses in Westfield. And for those 14 houses, there were approximately 25 enslaved African Americans who served those households. So we can imagine the diversity in Westfield. In addition, the newspapers were filled with ads for runaway slaves and news of insurrections in surrounding communities, giving witness to the insufferable conditions that warranted these activities. And shockingly, we learn that African Americans were burned alive at the stake at the Elizabeth Courthouse. The names of these victims and the crimes, if indeed there were any, were never recorded. But what has been detailed are the names of the men, the vendors who carted the firewood, and exactly how much they were paid by the freeholders. One stop on our walking tour is Fairview Cemetery. Here we can visit the grave of an African American woman named Jude, who lived during the pre-Civil War period. Faithful to and beloved by the Denman family, she labored in servitude from childhood and is buried near them. Because she was born after the 1804 Act, which deemed her free, she was not a slave, but she was indentured to the family. This law enabled owners to continue to exact labor from the descendants of their slaves. Note her grave indicates she died at 42 years of age, but it notes tellingly that she was a servant for 39 years. Part of our tour is here at the Civil War section of Fairview. Though New Jersey was the last state to ratify the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery, Fairview Cemetery's Civil War section reflects Westfield's evolving attitude toward African Americans. The graves of African American soldiers are buried in Ward G with full honor in a majestic spot with their white peers. And you will have the opportunity to visit several of their graves here.
Hi, I'm Joyce Allen Pretlow, and I'm standing here in front of Clinton Funeral Home. Clinton Funeral Home is one of the stops on the African American tour. This is the Black Professional Zone. And next to Clinton Funeral Home, we had Dr. Howard Brock, who had a medical practice. And just a little ways up the street, Dr. Russell Corbin had his dental practice. And I want to say that we have an African American tour guide. So if you take the tour, you'll get this. And there's additional information on all the Black professionals that were practicing here in Westfield between the late 30s and through the late 60s.
We welcome you to take this wonderful tour, and there are several ways to access the history, the timeline, and the map. It's through this brochure. You can pick it up at R's Coffee House on Elm Street, along with a free cup of coffee to take on your tour. There's also an app, the Clio, which you can download right on your phone, or you can access the information on the Westfield website. It's been a hard year. We've all been cooped up at home, but this is a great opportunity to revisit Westfield and explore the rich African American history that exists here. It's a remarkable opportunity, and it's the first time in 300 years.